dead await. As the shadow wills. Tremble before the scourge. For the Lich King, let darkness guide me. Die as the shadow wills. None shall survive. For the Lich King, intriguing. Let darkness guide me. Die. Let darkness guide me. Intriguing. As the shadow wills. For the Lich King. What does the shadow will? For the Lich King. Intriguing. As the shadow wills. Let darkness guide me. Tremble before the scourge. As the shadow wills. Let darkness guide me. Intriguing. This better be good. The dead shall serve. The dead shall serve. This better be good. For the Lich King, let darkness guide me. Intriguing. For the Lich King, as the shadow wills. Intriguing. For the Lich King, as the shadow wills. None shall survive. Let darkness guide me. Die. Intriguing. Let darkness guide me. As the shadow wills. For the Lich King, as the shadow wills. What does the shadow will? The restless dead await. Intriguing. Let darkness guide me. For the Lich King, as the shadow wills. Let darkness guide me. This better be good. What does the shadow will? Intriguing. For the Lich King. None shall survive. The dead shall serve. For the Lich King. Intriguing. The restless dead await. The restless dead await. As the shadow wills. Let darkness guide. We need more gold. The dead shall serve. This better be good. What does the shadow will? Let darkness guide me. As the shadow will. For the Lich King. As the shadow will. Intriguing. For the Lich King. Let darkness guide me. Tremble before the scourge. Intriguing. As the shadow will. None shall survive. For the Lich King, let darkness guide me. Tremble before the scourge. Intriguing. Let darkness guide me. Die. Die. Tremble before the scourge. For the Lich King, as the shadow will, the dead shall serve. Intriguing. The restless dead await. We need more number. What does the shadow will? Let darkness guide. We need more gold. This better be good. For the Lich King, as the shadow will. Let darkness guide. None shall survive. For the Lich King. As the shadow wills, as the shadow wills, let darkness guide me. Die! Tremble before the scourge. Intriguing. For the Lich King. Intriguing. None shall survive. Let darkness guide me. As the shadow wills, or the Lich King. Let darkness guide me. The restless dead await, intriguing. What does the shadow will? The dead shall serve, or the Lich King. As the shadow wills, let darkness guide me. As the shadow wills, none shall survive, or the Lich King. Intriguing. As the shadow wills, intriguing. Let darkness guide me. Die! Tremble before the scourge! Or the Lich King. We need the restless dead wait. Let darkness guide me. This better be good. As the shadow wills, the dead shall serve. What does the shadow will? The restless dead await. This better be good. What does the shadow will? Intriguing. Let darkness guide me. As the shadow wills, or the Lich King. As the shadow wills, let darkness guide me.
A hero has fallen.
Or the Lich King, or the Lich King. Intriguing. Let darkness guide me. As the shadow wills, let darkness guide me. The dead shall serve, or the Lich King. The dead shall serve. Intriguing. What does the shadow will? As the shadow wills, or the Lich King. None shall survive. Let darkness guide me. Die, as the shadow wills. Tremble before the scourge. As the shadow wills, tremble before the scourge. Die, none shall survive. Or the Lich King, darkness guide. Die, or the Lich King, darkness guide. Intriguing. We need the restless dead await. This better be good. As the shadow wills, the restless dead await. The dead shall serve. What does the shadow will? This better be good. Intriguing. The restless dead await. Let darkness guide me, or the Lich King. Tremble before the scourge. As the shadow wills, as the shadow wills, none shall survive. Let darkness guide me. Tremble before the scourge, or the Lich King. Intrigue, intrigue. Let darkness guide me. Die, as the shadow wills, or the Lich King. Let darkness guide me. As the shadow wills, or the Lich King. Intrigue. We need more dead shall serve. This better be good. As the shadow wills. For the Lich King, let darkness guide me. None shall survive. Intriguing, let darkness guide me. Tremble before the scourge. For the Lich King, as the shadow wills. Intriguing, for the Lich King, as the shadow wills. Let darkness guide me. None shall survive. For the Lich King, let darkness guide me. Die! Die! In truth, as the shadow wills. Tremble before the scourge! What does the shadow will? We need more gold! This better be good. What does the shadow will? The dead shall serve. The restless dead await. This better be good. None shall survive. Let darkness guide me. For the Lich King, as the shadow wills. Truth, as the shadow wills. In truth, none shall survive. Not enough now. For the Lich King, let darkness guide me. Let darkness guide me. The dead shall serve. As the shadow will. Die. Tremble before the scourge. For the Lich King. As the shadow will, none shall survive. Let darkness guide me. Tremble before the scourge. The restless dead await. We need more gold. The dead shall serve. We need more lumber. The restless dead await. This better be good. For the Lich King, the restless dead await. As the shadow die. Die. Tremble before the scourge. Let darkness guide me. None shall survive. For the Lich King, as the shadow will.
We need more
Dead
gold.
shall serve. What does the shadow will? For the Lich King, this better be good. Intriguing. The restless dead await, as the shadow wills. The dead shall serve for the Lich King. Die, let darkness guide.
Tremble before the scourge. Tremble before the scourge.
Let darkness guide. For the Lich King. Die.
We need more gold.
This better be. What does the shadow will? This better be good. The restless dead await. The dead shall serve, as the shadow wills. Let darkness guide. None shall survive. Intrigue for the Lich King, as the shadow wills. None shall survive. Intrigue for the Lich King. Let darkness guide. Die, as the shadow wills.
Tremble before the scourge.
As the shadow wills. Intrigue for the Lich King. Let darkness guide me, as the shadow wills. For the Lich King.
We need more
What
gold.
does the shadow will? The restless dead await. The dead shall serve. Let darkness guide me. This better be good. What does the shadow will? Intriguing, as the shadow will. For the Lich King. Die. None shall survive. Let darkness guide me.
Tremble before the scourge.
As the shadow will. None shall survive. For the Lich King. Die. Let darkness guide. As the shadow will. For the Lich King. Let darkness guide. Let darkness guide me.
We need more
What does the
gold.
shadow will? For the Lich King. Intriguing. The dead shall serve, as the shadow wills. For the Lich King. Intriguing, as the shadow wills.
Tremble before the scourge.
Let darkness guide me.
Tremble before the scourge.
As the shadow wills, none shall survive. Let darkness guide me, for the Lich King. Die. Die. None shall survive. Let darkness guide me, for the Lich King.
Tremble before the scourge.
As the shadow wills. Die. None shall survive. Let darkness guide me.
Tremble before the scourge.
For the Lich King. This better be good. The restless dead await.
We need
What
more
does the
gold.
shadow will?
We need
As the
more
shadow
lumber.
wills. Intriguing. The dead shall serve. This better be good. As the shadow.
enough, man.
Let darkness guide me.
Tremble before the scourge.
For the Lich King, as the shadow will, none shall survive. Intrigue, let darkness guide. Die, die, for the Lich King. Intrigue, for the Lich King.
Tremble before the scourge.
Let darkness guide. As the shadow will, none shall survive. The restless dead await. Let darkness guide.
We need more
What
gold.
does the shadow will? This better be good. The restless dead await. The dead shall serve. Intrigue.
Tremble before the scourge.
Die, for the Lich King. As the shadow wills, none shall survive. As the shadow wills, none shall survive. Let darkness guide. Intrigue.
Tremble before the scourge.
For the Lich King. Intrigue. As the shadow wills. The restless dead await.
We need more
The
gold.
dead shall serve. For the Lich King. Let darkness guide me. For the Lich King. Die. Let darkness guide me. Intrigue. As the shadow will. Die.
Tremble before the scourge.
None shall survive. For the Lich King. Die. Let darkness guide me.
Tremble before the scourge. We need
This
more
better be
gold.
good.
We need
What does
more
the shadow
lumber.
will? The dead shall serve. As the shadow wills. For the Lich King. Intrigue. Let darkness guide me. None shall survive. As the shadow wills. For the Lich King. As the shadow wills. Let darkness guide me.
Tremble before the scourge.
As the shadow wills. For the Lich King.
We need
The
more
restless
gold.
dead await. What does the shadow will? Let darkness guide me. For the Lich King, this better be good. The restless dead await. Die. Let darkness guide me. The shadows beckon, the dead shall serve. shadow will. The dead shall serve. Intrigue. What does the shadow will? As the shadow wills. For the Lich King. Intrigue. None shall survive. Die. Let darkness guide me.
Tremble before the scourge.
As the shadow wills. Let darkness guide me. As the shadow wills. Intriguing. For the Lich King.
We need
The
more
restless
gold.
dead await.
We need more lumber.
For the Lich King. None shall survive. As the shadow wills. None shall survive. Let darkness guide me. For the Lich King. This better be good.
We need more
Dead shall
lumber.
serve. Darkness guide. As the shadow will. Die. Intrigue. Let darkness guide me.
Tremble before the scourge.
For the Lich King. Die.
Tremble before the scourge.
As the shadow will. What does the shadow will? This better be good.
We need
The
more
restless
gold.
dead await. For the Lich King. None shall survive.
Tremble before the scourge.
None shall survive. Die.
Tremble before the scourge.
The restless dead await. As the shadow will. This better be good. Intriguing. Let darkness guide me. What does the shadow will? Let darkness guide me. As the shadow will. The dead shall serve.
We need more
What does the
gold.
shadow will? The restless dead await. For the Lich King. For the Lich King. Die.
Tremble before the scourge.
None shall survive. The dead shall serve.
We need
This
more lumber.
This better be good. The dead shall serve. Let darkness guide me as the shadow wills. Intrigue. Let darkness guide me for the Lich King. Intrigue. As the shadow wills for the Lich King. As the shadow wills. Intrigue. Let darkness guide me. Intriguing. As the shadow wills. What does the shadow will? Let darkness guide me. For the Lich King. Die. Shall survive.
Tremble before the scourge.
Shall survive. The restless death awaits. As the shadow will.
We need more
What does
lumber.
the shadow will? The restless dead await. The dead shall serve. Intrigue for the Lich King. Let darkness guide me. Let darkness guide me.
Tremble before the scourge.
Shall survive. Die. This better be good.
We need more lumber.
The restless dead await. What does the shadow will?
Tremble before the scourge.
As the shadow wills. For the Lich King. The dead shall serve. Intrigue. Let darkness guide me. This better be good. What does the shadow will? For the Lich King. As the shadow wills. Intrigue. Let darkness guide me. The shadows will. This better be for the Lich King. Intriguing as the shadow will. The restless dead await. Let darkness guide me. None shall survive.
Tremble before the scourge. Tremble before the scourge.
None shall survive. For the Lich King, the dead shall serve. This better be good. The restless dead await. What does the shadow will? As the shadow wills. The dead shall serve. Intriguing. Intriguing. As the shadow wills. Let darkness guide me. does
more
the shadow
lumber.
will? For the Lich King, as the shadow will. Die. The dead shall serve.
We need
The
more
restless
lumber.
dead await. The restless dead await. For the Lich King. What does the shadow will?
We need more lumber.
Dead shall serve. Let darkness guide me. True. Let darkness guide me. It's better. What does the shadow will? For the Lich King. The restless dead await. The dead shall serve. This better be good. The restless dead await. The dead shall serve, as the shadow wills. In truth, this better be good, as the shadow wills. For the Lich King, let darkness guide me. For the Lich King, let darkness guide me. What does the shadow will? What does the shadow will? The dead shall serve. This better be good, as the shadow wills.
Tremble before the scourge.
As the shadow wills.
We need more lumber.
Restless dead await. This better be good. Intriguing. For the Lich King, the restless dead await. None shall survive. The dead shall serve. Let darkness guide me.
We need more
What
lumber.
does the shadow will? The restless dead await, as the shadow wills. The dead shall serve. For the Lich King, let darkness guide me. This better.
We need more lumber. We need
What does
more
the
coal.
shadow will? This better be good. For the Lich King, let darkness guide me. As the shadow will. What does the shadow will? The dead shall serve.
We need more lumber. We need
The restless
more
dead
coal.
await. The restless dead await. For the Lich King, this better be good. Darkness guide me. What does the shadow do? The dead shall serve. The dead shall serve. The restless dead await. This better be good. What does the shadow will? They'll all be mine. Intriguing, as the shadow wills. For the Lich King, As the shadow wills, none shall survive. Let darkness guide me for the Lich King. Intriguing. As the shadow wills, let darkness guide me. Let darkness guide me. The dead shall serve for the Lich King.
We need more lumber.
What does the shadow will? The restless dead await. Intriguing. This better be good.
Tremble before the scourge.
As the shadow wills. What does the shadow will? This better be good.
We need more lumber.
The restless dead await. The dead shall serve. As the shadow wills. For the Lich King, let darkness guide me. Let darkness guide me. Die as the shadow wills. For the Lich King.
We need more
Dead
gold.
shall serve. Let darkness guide me. This better. As the shadow wills, for the Lich King. For the Lich King, let darkness guide me. What does the shadow will? As the shadow wills, let darkness guide me. Die. The restless dead await. For the Lich King.
We need more lumber. We need more gold.
As the shadow wills, let darkness guide me. As the shadow wills, the dead shall serve. Restless dead await. For the Lich King.
We need more lumber.
What does the shadow will? As the shadow wills.
Tremble before the scourge. We need more lumber. We need more
This better
gold.
be good. For the Lich King, let darkness guide me. The restless dead await.
We need more lumber.
serve. Let darkness guide me as the shadow. What does the shadow will?
We need more number.
What does the shadow will? For the Lich King, shall survive. This better. Await. Let darkness guide me, for the Lich King intrigue. As the shadow wills, intrigue. Let darkness guide me, for the Lich King. As the shadow wills, for the Lich King. Guide me, intriguing, as the shadow wills, for the Lich King.